fall into big savings, all in the Kroger app. Get 3-pound packs of select varieties of juicy Kroger seedless grapes for $3.99 each. Then get flavorful USDA Choice boneless chuck roast for $5.99 a pound, all with your card and a digital coupon. Shop these deals at your local Kroger, less than 5 miles away. Or tap the screen now to download the Kroger app to save big today. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Prices and product availability subject to change. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Hello and welcome to Gardening with Ben, your go-to podcast for all things green and growing. I'm Ben, your allotment guide, and here to help you cultivate your garden and your passion for plants. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or just starting out, this podcast is for you. Each episode will dig into tips, tricks and techniques to make your garden and allotment thrive. From planting, sowing and growing, we will share all the tips and advice. We will also have regular episodes talking about what we have been up to on the allotment. So sit back, grab a brew and enjoy today's episode. Hey everyone and welcome back to Gardening with Ben. For your Friday's episode, I hope you're all excited for the weekend. I know I certainly am. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting all them jobs done down at the allotment again. And if you'll have heard previously in my other episodes, is that at the moment I'm just concentrating on improving it and getting it all ready for next year and just tidying it up, making it all neat, tidy, getting rid of all the weeds, getting rid of any rubbish on my plot or any stones in the soil and stuff like that. Just making it all healthy again, ready for next year, because I'm not a very tidy gardener. I've said this many a times. I'm a messy gardener. I'm one of these that'll plant my plants and then just leave the plant pots at the side on the path or the trays around and stuff like that. I should really be more tidy and be more presentable. But maybe we'll put that on our New Year's resolutions for next year to be a lot more tidier and make it look more neater and aesthetic, if I can actually say that word, and make it look more beautiful. And hopefully next year we'll be doing a lot more in making it look better and hopefully do some improvements. And like I said, through the winter time, I'll be rebuilding all my beds, getting them all screwed together again, giving them all a lick of paint, making it look fresh again, and replacing any wood that's rotted away. And I use this time as spending quite a bit of money. I spend quite a bit of money on my allotment. I'll hold my hands up to that, as I don't have a garden. I don't have any hobbies. And this is my only hobby and it's what I enjoy doing. So I don't mind putting some money into it. And yeah, they say that you do garden in an allotment to save money. I probably don't save money, but I do it more for enjoyment and for peace of mind and for my mental health mainly. Just being outside in the fresh air. And I do love the summer and getting a nice suntan and being out in the fresh air, but I do love the cold weather as well when it's nice and crisp and it's nice and fresh out there where you can come over and feel like you've felt it on your face, if you get me. And fresh air is obviously good for you as well. It tires you out, but it makes you feel better in the long run for being outside. And even like at this time of year, we're having bonfires and the smell of bonfires, that always goes down well, which means I'll probably have to have a bonfire soon. I think that's one thing that I do need to do. But it's just finding a nice dry day to do it on. But thankfully this week has been pretty nice, and I think we're heading towards a heat wave they mentioned. I don't know if it's still true or not, if we're going to get a heat wave this week, but we'll see what it's like. Hopefully it might be sunbathing weather at the weekend, you never know. But what are we going to talk about in today's podcast? Well, today's podcast is going to be talking about the main things that you plant at this time of year. I know we've obviously done the podcast talking about everything you can plant this month, but what do I plant personally this month? Like I can read you out everything that you meant to plant this month, but what have I actually planted this month? What am I growing in my allotment in November? As obviously a lot of people follow me and follow what I do, so I'll share with you exactly what I am growing, and whether anybody wants to try growing some stuff, feel free to follow along as well. So at this time of year, I got given a load of onion bulbs, autumn onion bulbs, so we've got all them in. And to be honest, I've never really grown autumn onion bulbs. I've grown them from March time when you plant the the normal onion bulbs. I've planted them many a times from like March time, and I've also planted onions from seed at the same time. I've done like a little comparison in the past to see which actually do better, the onion seed or the onion set. And it was surprisingly that the onion seed did a lot better than the set. I don't know why, but that one came out the best. And they were both planted in the same soil, and they both watered the same, and both fed the same as well. So the seed did better when I actually grew the onions. So I've never actually grown them from this time of year, so it's going to be interesting to see how well they actually do. And they've been in now probably 3 weeks. I've shared a video on YouTube when I did it of all the onions being planted and how to plant them and where to plant them and how far apart you should plant them. And they've still not actually sent out any shoots yet. I think I got one onion that had just sent out some shoots this week. So fingers crossed when I go back to the allotment this weekend, more will have sent the shoots out, because it seems a long time that it's taken about 3 weeks for them to send the shoots out. I thought they'd be quite faster, to be honest. And I've planted yellow ones and red ones. So I've never had any luck with red onions. They always seem to go to seed. So we'll see. We'll see if the autumn ones do better than the normal ones. Let me know by sending me a message if you grow any autumn onions and how well yours have done in the past, or whether you just stick to growing them from March time when I usually plant them. I might plant some more in March. We'll see how much space we've got and try and get some more in as well and compare them, see which ones actually do biggest, whether it be the autumn ones that I started off early or whether it be the normal ones that we start March. And they're usually both ready at the same time, around June, July time. So you're just planting them that bit earlier, the autumn ones, to give them that little head start and that little push. But obviously they've got to be the autumn varieties if you are starting them at this time of year. And if you go in the garden centres, they're usually out and about at this time of year. So you shouldn't get yourself muddled up, because they won't have the other varieties out at this time of year. So the ones that are usually on display at this time of year, they will be the ones that you grow. So what else have we planted? We've planted our garlic. Now we've planted absolutely loads of different varieties of garlic this year. Like in the past, I've just usually used about 20 cloves and planted them. And this year I have planted about 60 cloves altogether. Now you're probably thinking, he lives on his own, he's single, why would he want 60 garlic? You ask me. I don't even know myself. But yes, I've planted about 60 cloves. Again, I got quite a few onion bulbs given, garlic bulbs given to me. So I've planted all them ones, and they were massive. The cloves were absolutely massive. Again, I shared this video on YouTube of what the cloves looked like before I planted them. And wow, they were massive. They've not actually started sprouting yet, the ones that I were given. And they've been in about 3 weeks. And I planted some which I got from Amazon, because I didn't know I was getting these ones given me. So I ordered some off Amazon, and I planted them ones as soon as they came, and they've been in about 4 weeks, and they only took about a week to start sprouting. I couldn't believe it. They were like shooting out of the ground straight away. So they're well on the way, but we just need the cold weather to get them to form the garlic clove itself, because that's the reason why I plant them at this time of year, is because it needs the cold to help form the garlic bulb itself. Without the cold weather, it'll just end up being a clove. So that's why it needs the cold to help break the clove to form the bulb. It's very complicated stuff, very scientific. But yeah, that's why it needs the cold weather for it to be done. So I know some people sometimes try and grow them from March onwards, but they won't do as well. You need to plant them now if you want to grow some garlic. So if you're listening to this podcast and you've not planted any garlic, make sure you go out and buy some and plant it, as you've still got plenty of time, because the cold weather's not come yet. We've not had a frost. The frosty weather's not come yet. I'm up north and I've not seen no frosty mornings yet. I've not had to scrape the car yet. So we're doing well. We've not even had a frost yet. So if you're wanting to plant some garlic and you've not got a garden centre near you, just go to the supermarket, have a look in the supermarket and have a look at the country where the garlic comes from. Now, if it's from the UK or Europe, any European country, that's fine to grow. If it says it's from China or Russia, it might be a lot harder to grow. You can still try it, but it might not do as well because it'll be used to their climates, which obviously China's a lot hotter and Russia is a lot colder. So they're not necessarily used to our climate, so they may not grow properly. So that's a word of warning. But obviously you can go out to the supermarket and buy your garlic and grow it from there, as long as it's from a European country. As that's what I've done in the past when they've ran out in the garden centres. I've just ended up having to go to the supermarket to buy some, and I've done well with them. I've had fantastic crops and produce from them, so you can never not try that. And I know some people had a go at me because they're saying, "Oh, you're putting garden centres out of business," but at the end of the day, it's just the same thing as what they're selling. Obviously, you can. They're called seed varieties. They're grown to be grown again, if you get me. But it all comes down to the same thing. It's the same as growing potatoes from the supermarket. A lot of people say don't grow them from ones at the supermarket. You've got to buy seed potatoes because the ones in the supermarket have obviously been sprayed or stuff like that done to them. But my dad's grown his from supermarket for the last few years and he's doing absolutely fantastic with him. He's not had a complaint from the supermarket potatoes whatsoever. So that's what I did. I've planted some which are due to be harvested for Christmas. But as you'll have seen from my previous YouTube video, that they are actually ready to harvest now. The plants have died off. So this weekend, I'm going to be harvesting my Christmas potatoes in November, a month early. But we'll see how well they actually do. And I'll do a reveal video of how well they've actually grown and how well they've come out. As I'm always honest, I tell you if it's worked, if it's not worked, if we've had a disaster. I'm very open and honest. Like, I'll always admit that I'm not a professional gardener. I'll just try things, and if it works, it works. That's how you learn things, don't you? Just trying different things out. So yeah, those are the main two things that we're planting, are onion and garlic. Now, come back later on in the week and we'll talk about some of the other things what I'm growing this month, and hopefully you'll join in. And if you've not planted your onions and garlic, get some planted, especially garlic, as it's easy to purchase to plant. Obviously onions you need to go to somewhere like Wilko's or B&M's or garden centre to go and find them sets to plant. So let me know. Send me a message if you're going to be planting some. I'd love to hear from everybody if I've encouraged you to plant some. Make sure you do give us a follow, give us a like, leave a rating, and feel free to share it as well to your Instagram stories, this podcast. The more people we get listening, the better it gets out there. And I've been having loads of people listen, so thank you to everybody that does listen. Until next time, everyone, remember, keep smiling, keep shining, and keep gardening with Ben. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Gardening with Ben. I hope you have found some useful tips and inspiration for your own gardening and allotment journey. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to follow and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss a new episode. And if you have a moment, I'd love for you to leave a review and share the podcast with fellow gardening enthusiasts. Your support helps us grow this community and continue bringing you great content. You can also follow us on social media on every platform called Gardening with Ben for daily gardening tips and updates. Happy gardening, and until next time, remember, keep smiling, keep shining, and keep gardening with